How we looking? How we looking? Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show on board today. Got our good buddy Ben Kenny producing the program back in studio. So, Ben, how was Big Ten Media Day, man?
Oh, it was terrific. I was sad that I missed the first day of Packers training camp and reacting to all of the tweets of throws to maybe a Danny Davis in the corner of the end zone. But we enjoyed ourselves, had 2 great days of radio, had a lot of good interviews, really seminal moments in this station's history, given that Zach finally got to ask Brett Bielema to unblock him on Twitter.
Yeah, I want to get into that. I want to hear that coming up because that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm looking forward to that. The back and forth between now, was it without us getting into the audio yet? Was it heated? Was it jovial? Was Brett kind of, well, Zach, I got a big ass, and was it stuff like that, or how was it?
It was brief, definitely. I think it took a lot of mustering to get the question out because it is kind of unprofessional in a way.
Sure.
Like, hey, you blocked me on Twitter, and your wife does too. So can you both unblock me?
Yeah.
It was very brief, and I think Brett's answer was quite funny, but he was awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so we got all that coming up to look forward to, and only on this particular station and on this particular network. So I like that. That's good stuff. Looking forward.
What did I miss, most importantly?
Most importantly was yesterday's opening to the preseason training camp pressers, in which the announcement was made that David Bakhtiari had yet another surgery. They call it a procedure, but we all know what it is. Whether it's arthroscopic or cutting you open, the bottom line is they had to go back in and do something else. They won't tell us what, Red China, but nevertheless, they said he had another procedure in the offseason and that he's just not ready yet. So we had that.
I mean, it's always tough going from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer.
And then there's Alan Lazard. At least the tongue-in-cheek, half smiling, if you saw the presser with Aaron Rodgers yesterday, as he said, it's tough going from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer, meaning Devontae Adams to Alan Lazard. Smile, wink. So that took place as he alluded to the fact that Alan Lazard is going to certainly be elevated when it comes to the number of catches. Don't forget, Alan Lazard has had 40, 50 catches over the last few years anyway. So now what you're asking him to do, if indeed he elevates to a number one, can he get 20 to 30 more catches? Can he continue to move the sticks? So that's kind of what you're asking Alan Lazard to do, or collectively, can the others do it as well? So anyway, you had that going on. We're going to hear a lot today. Mike Clemens last night, were you watching your email as Mike began to blow it up?
Oh, yes. I was watching it because we had some Kenny and Heilprin conversations going on with the interviews and the audio and such. And then I opened it and refreshed, and then I had 22 unread emails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Mike has been doing yeoman's work. So there's Jair Alexander, Mason Crosby. He had a chance to talk with David Bakhtiari, which we're going to hear coming up here in the next segment of the show. Packers wide receiver Alan Lazard. So all of that. So Mike's going to have training camp reports today as well. So all of that coming up, which is awesome. So looking forward to all of that. So we've got it covered top to bottom for you. So no worries there. Obviously. Now, what was going back to the Big Ten Media Days, what was other than the Brett Bielema, I'll let you know if I'm going to unblock you from Twitter, Zach Heilprin, was there, because the interview you guys did with Barry Alvarez was intriguing, especially when he got into the NIL stuff. You could hear like nothing. It was just Barry speaking. Was it just you guys, or was he with like a group of reporters?
No, he sat down with us for that interview. He did a lot of stuff when he was there with reporters, big podium stuff, a lot of different radio shows, but that was only us.
So how, I couldn't get his facial expressions, and I've done numerous interviews, including one in which I sat down with him in his office. So I understand sometimes facial expressions are a little bit different from because Barry can be a bigger than life figure. Would you agree?
Yeah, no doubt.
So Barry can be, and he can also
he's still kind of the face of Wisconsin football, right? Even though he's retired.
He's still the face of Wisconsin, I think, for the most part, as of right now. I mean, still obviously very much to do with the committees and such. But when you're sitting there and he's talking about the NIL, and one of the significant moments in that, when he talked about the governing body, well, if the NCAA isn't going to regulate it, who the hell will? Was that a smile, or was that a disgruntled face of, we can't put the blank back in the horse?
I think that part was definitely a attitude of defeat in a way that a lot of people share.
Yeah.
The interesting thing to me is right after that, and I'll find the exact clip, Zach asked him about what the solution could be, whether it's breaking away from the NCAA and finding a new conference. Mm-hmm. And Alvarez started laughing, and he's kind of like, he couldn't really say anything, but he said, yeah, that's an answer. That could in theory be an answer.
Right.
So
interesting.
But aside from that, yeah, kind of a, attitude of definitely defeat and overall irritation at the state of where everything is.
Right. Yeah, that is, for lack of a better term, a rather telling statement. A rather telling statement regarding Barry Alvarez. I know there's a level of frustration there. I completely understand that. Because what's going on now with the NIL was never intended from the very beginning. This was never intended. It just was, there are so many wide open, it's not even loopholes. It's like garage doors to drive through. People not only drove through them and looked through them, they drove trucks through them. And it went from getting student athletes, a little bit of money for pizza and to take their girlfriends out, to guys are now signing $5 million deals, and they're in high school. And it's being used as recruiting tools, and so on and on. And now, I mean, even if you wanted to stand on your high moral ground, you can't. You can. Your choice is you can and completely be left in the wind, or you got to jump into that ugly cesspool and begin to fight for recruits and dollars and businesses and different organizational skills when it comes to getting your athletes out there and recognizable. And so, yeah, it's not what it was intended to be, and it's blown up faster than it's kind of like the internet. The internet, when really, if you go back to the years that it really kind of first came about, there were certain things it was intended to be, and it was really cool at first, and everybody remembers AOL and the dial-up and, kind of chit-chatting with friends and such. And then there was this span where internet technology, the World Wide Web, if you will, WWW, which we don't even say anymore, when all of a sudden it just went from just a little bit of communication and some emails to boom, everything was legal. Everything was going on. It was a community within a community, and it was the Wild West. There were no laws. And then you try to put the blank back in a horse, and it's just tough to do. So that seems to be what's happened to the NCAA when it comes to the NIL, without a doubt. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. You can also hit us up over on Twitter, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find us there. Ben Kenny is back at Ben Z Kenny, at Ben Z Kenny. You can find him there. Follow us, watch us every day, chime in over on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. As you saw yesterday over on YouTube, you can always find us there. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Same thing over on Twitch TV if you download the app there. The email to get a hold of us, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. A great way to take the program anywhere and everywhere, and many of you have been doing it, and I appreciate it. I'm hearing from you all over the country, and that is just simply download the Zone app. Zone Madison, the Zone Madison, WOZN. Download that app. You can listen to the show live and every day, and including the huddles and such as well, so you can find us there. And don't forget, even after the program, we're on Apple iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts. You can find us where all your local podcasts are. This was Barry Alvarez talking with Zach Heilprin and Ben Kenny down at the Big Ten Media Day about the NIL.
If you're smart enough and you are unique enough that you can create a social media page that has enough followers where it's valuable and you can make money, more power to you. The thing that I've seen is schools are educating their players in how they can do that and how they can use um, their visibility as an athlete and be creative and make it valuable. So it's not just going out and handing somebody some money. That's the thing that upsets me, and that's the first thing I said when we talked about this years ago. You cannot allow it to enter into recruiting, and that's what had happened. And then no one penalizes those that did it, and that's where it got out of whack.
There you go. No one penalized those who used it for recruiting, and that's the argument. Is that schools such as Ohio State, such as Texas A&M, they were ahead of the game on this. They went out, they publicly recruited businesses. Like Ryan Day at Ohio State said, we need $13 million in a war chest. Excuse me, what? Yeah, we need that because we got to go out and get recruits now. That's when all of this really, I think when Ryan Day made that statement, it was already being discussed and we knew the battle with Nick Saban and such and Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M and what was going on there. We knew that argument. But when Ryan Day went to a business function and stated, we need $13 million right now in a war chest so we can start bringing in recruits, people went, it's recruiting now. Yep, here it is. And it not only kicked the door open, it blew the doors clean off for this is going to be used as a recruiting tool. Without a doubt. So that is strong words from Barry Alvarez because basically he's looking for somebody to regulate this thing and they don't have their arms around it. It sounds like they're not even close to having their arms around it. So that's going on. Also in the world of the Green Bay Packers, Packers back on the practice field again today. How about them Brewers? 42 runs in the homestand. Oh, what the hell? What happened to the Brewers? 42 runs in the homestand. They win again yesterday, beating the Twins in that short 2-game series. 42 runs in the homestand. And, yesterday I started again, we're talking about a short homestand, right? Nothing crazy, nothing really long, but in a short homestand, in a short unofficial second half of the season, they take 3 out of 4 from Colorado. They beat the Twins in that short 2-game series. 42 runs are scored. They've got 5. They're 5-1 coming out of the break. They've got Boston tomorrow night, 6:10 start time, by the way, in Beantown at Fenway. And now I'm getting people that are starting to tweet, going, "Well, I really don't need a bat. You just need to get everybody healthy." It's like 5-6 games does not make a season. So slow your roll because they can go back into that swoon as quick as anything. Now, they did get some good pitching. Yesterday was an interesting game because early on in that ball game, it was 3-3 after an inning and a half. And you thought Corbin Burns, man, what the hell? He came out, did not throw well early, and then settled in. Went 6 strong yesterday, giving up 5 hits, a majority of those in the first inning, giving up the 3 runs. After the first, he was smooth as butter. Had the 1 long ball, 11 strikeouts on the day, and did not walk a batter. The ERA goes to 2.31 on the season. 2.31 on the season. They got to Archer. They beat him up. They scored 6 against him and then just played it insurance runs after the fact. Rowdy Tellez going yard twice, his 19th and 20th of the season in the first inning off of Archer with 2 on. That was a 3-run bomb that tied it up and then went again in the 4th inning off of Cotton. And that was a 3-run shot. And 2 outs at that point in time. Luis Urias, he hit his 12th of the season as well. So there you go. Big time stuff yesterday out of the Brewers, who get a 10-4 win over the Minnesota Twins, and they sweep that short 2-game series against Minnesota. Now they head to Beantown. So that's where we're at. So let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to come back. We're going to hear some from inside that Packers locker room. Got some of that. We also, don't forget, we have guests today. Have some guests today. We have got our buddy Pete Doherty of the Green Bay Press-Gazette going to be joining us. Our buddy Mark Daniels from WNFL Radio is up in Green Bay as well. So we're going to talk with him today as well. May have one more. Oh, by the way, no, Pete Doherty cannot. He just had to cancel. He's going to come back at a later date. They got some stuff going on this afternoon. But we are going to try to confirm a little bit later. Might have one more guest. Who knows? Might have one more. So anyway, But we've got all kinds of stuff. And let's do this. When we come back, we can also hear from Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, before he sends his team out onto the practice field. He spoke today as well. So all of this coming up. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, reminding you 1 week from today, we will be live at the Wisconsin State Fair inside the Bud Pavilion, the Goose Island Ale House. I can't wait. I was down there yesterday. I got everything worked out with our broadcast technical setup today, and we will be live from the Wisconsin State Fair on day one of the fair, and I love it. I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it, but it's all brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, and we will see you next Thursday and next Friday at the Budweiser Pavilion for the show, live broadcast from the Wisconsin State Fair. Looking forward. I love State Fair. I love fair time. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds. Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Going to hear from Matt LaFleur. Hey, don't forget our friends at the Water Doctors. Go to h2thetterodoctors.com for the best water softening system that's out there. That's the Connecticut water softening system. I've had a couple in my lifetime, and about 20 years ago, I went to the Connecticut system, and I have not looked back. It is fantastic, whether it's the taste or non-taste of water, or the fact that you use less power, less energy, less detergent in the wash, laundry. Also, when you talk about if you have it hooked up to your hose outside, it's great because it doesn't spot your car. Oh my God, that's awesome. And then obviously in the showers as well. There's no better. Go to h2thetterodoctors.com, h2thetterodoctors.com, h2odoctors.com. And don't forget they support veterans and veterans causes as well, like the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy, which they're just great people. So that is the Water Doctors in Waukesha. Let's do this. Let's get back to it. Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, speaking to the media. Here he is.
We talked yesterday just about his rehab process to get back, and admitted there were even some dark days that he had to get through. How have you seen him kind of approach this whole process?
Yeah, Bobby just comes in and he goes right to work, and that's what we're looking for. He's got a great mentality. You see it. He is a team guy. He wants to be around his guys, and that's tough for any player that has to go through such an extensive rehab process. And I think that it teaches you a lot of lessons along the way as well, and just how to handle adversity. And that's part of this game. And the guys that can do it tend to thrive. And I think, he's a guy that is thriving in that situation, and I can't wait to get him back out there.
What are your impressions of Royce at tackle? Obviously a guy that's played a lot of guard for you.
Yeah. Again, it's early on. We did have him out there a little bit during OTAs, and he's a guy that's got that flexibility, having played that position before. And, we'll see where it goes.
Will the plan again be not to play Aaron Rodgers in any preseason games, or could all the new faces in the receiving corps change that at all, or is it too early to tell?
I think that's up for discussion. So, that's not something that he and I have talked about at this point, but, certainly again, everything's fluid right now.
I want to ask about Zach Tom too. Excuse me, building on Ryan's question. I think it was during the rookie camp. He talked about he wanted to be a 5-position player. Is that a realistic thing? I mean, maybe in the long scheme it is, but is a rookie, is it realistic to be a guy who can play everywhere?
I think it's a great challenge, but we've got a little saying: if that's his expectation, his work ethic better exceed his expectations. So a lot of it's gonna be on him to be able to go out there and do it. But he's got the intelligence and the athleticism to do that. The only guy that I've been around up to this point that's proven it is a guy like Elton. I mean, he's done it all. So, certainly we're not going to limit Zach to just any one spot.
Matt, in the past you've spoken about your staff and the division of labor when it comes down to like red zone, third down calls and things like that. Has that been I don't even know if you made the transition yet, but has transitioning to new guys on the staff, has that happened already? Like, do guys know what they're in charge of, or is that part of this process?
Yeah, no, all these guys have clearly defined roles, and there is a learning curve there, just like there is with anything. And throughout the course of the off season and then into training camp and into the preseason games, that'll give us a good look at what it's going to look like, how they present to the guys. And, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear some new voices. And it's definitely, it always, when you get new faces in the building, whether it's players, coaches, whoever, it does stimulate some new ideas, some new thought.
Can you speak to Aaron's impact? You've seen it now for a few years, especially in an initial practice, of how he impacts the new players that he's working with, just in a short 90-minute window yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think there's a standard which he, number one, holds himself to, and then I think all the guys kind of see that, and they just stand up a little bit straighter in that huddle, so to speak. So, he demands it of himself first and foremost. So I think that, he exemplifies what it looks like. To